So first pair out, Mike Achenbach, left-hand side of the racetrack out of Wind Gap, Pennsylvania. The Fulton or 1969 Camaro for Canvas Plus. Here on the left-hand side of the racetrack, and on the right-hand side is Corey Smith out of Southfield, Michigan. The 69 Camaro, 959 cubic inches.
Arrows here. As the lights are on, big nitrous purge. While it looks cool on video and pictures, is not the most fun conditions to try to tune in for these crew chiefs.
Well, they got some of the best in the business. Brandon Schweitzer, time for Achenbach. He had to make a hot roll.
While these teams in the professional categories are battling it out here on the racetrack and these tough atmospheric conditions, T-Dub says the atmospheric conditions in the cooler are up. Speaking of optimum conditions, let's see what we got right here. Two Pro Nitrous cars side by side. Mike Achenbach, 369.2, 202 miles per hour, moves up to number 3 by only 0.2 of a second. Puts Achenbach in at number 3, right behind Franklin's 369.2, 369.24, puts him number 3.
That will confirm we will see some better performances here in this round number 2 of qualifying.
Good job, Scotty. We're also proud.
Yep. I don't think that's the only one that's going to move up the ladder either. As our next pair 5 live here and roll through the water box, Keith Haney and John Vergatz.
Speaking of moving up the ladder, Haney going to come in the ladder right there to try to put it inside the 19 Camaro on the left-hand side of the racetrack. For Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. The Black Mamba Chevrolet, left-hand side of the racetrack for Keith, making his appearance on the PDRA Tour this season. Sits alongside John Vergatz, the A1 Automotive 69 Camaro. Called the car Dark Knight.
Keith Haney. You know my name. Right on the door of that machine, left side.
Do you, though? Do you, though?
I mean, he needs to get off the basement. He's in the basement right now. He needs to move up.
You can't put that on your door if you're in the basement.
Well, let's see what he does here. I have a feeling he might move up the ladder just a little bit.
Well,
the qualified order.
He just watched a Schweitzer Dynamics teammate go 369 on the left-hand side of the racetrack that he currently resides in, sitting alongside John Vergatz. Vergatz, kind of not where he wants to be either. Went 378, 194 miles per hour in the opening qualifying stanza. Put him in at number 10. Big word, like that. Big word, look that up on thesaurus.com. Trying to climb the ladder and get out of the basement in the number 12 qualifying spot. Just off 59 to go number 3. Can Haney follow his Schweitzer Dynamics teammate? About to find out, ladies and gentlemen. Tire shake for Haney and for Vergatz. Haney made it a little bit farther. Vergatz shook so hard it lost power on the right-hand side of the racetrack. Haney was 937 down low, climbed the wheelie bars. No. So Haney, 436 at 151 miles per hour is definitely an effort of missing the ladder when you're trying to climb up to the top, and I think that will keep him at number 12. The wildest thing of that is whoever decides to land at number 1 qualifier, it's who Keith Haney has tomorrow in round number 1. Not really who you want to bark up here in the category.
So, Tyler, though, we've seen it happen before where guys qualify down at the bottom half of the field, end up parking their machine in the Fuel Tech winner's circle at the end of the night, but that is definitely a tough road to go if you're trying to get to the 660 man at the end of the rainbow.
I got nothing, Scotty. I was not prepared for that.
Well, good. Finally, I get you.
Oh, I mean, I can pick it up and run with it if you want me to. We're going to get Vergots pushed off the racing surface. It looks like they've already done that. If I would react and pay attention, that would actually be kind of fun. So, like we said, Keith Haney going to stay in number 12. Mike Achenbach, the mover of the round so far, moves up to number 3. We've got a load of next, and now we've got Jackie Sloan and Jim Widener.
Yeah, if you remember, Tyler, round number 1 of qualifying, Jackie Sloan was one of the first machines out, and he laid down a 372.5. That car laid down personal best numbers right here at US 131 just a few minutes ago. Will we see Jackie pick up on this attempt? Jim Widener on the right-hand side of the racetrack at Hicksville, Indiana. The VP Fuels, Holly, Ross Pistons, Maxima Induction. Widener went a 376 with a 2 on his first. He's number 9, right behind Jackie Sloan's Camaro. Cox Trucking, Mullins Auto, Hoosier, and Chevrolet on board Jackie Sloan's machine. As they purge the system here on Sloan's machine, you can see the nitrous plume up into the atmosphere. He gets the bottom pressure right in the Sloan boys Chevrolet, left side of the racetrack. Issues for Widener. Sloan has to lift his foot off the loud pedal as well. He'll coast through at a 427 at 127. 657 for Jim Widener. Trackside spotters will go out and check the racing surface to make sure we're good to go. Buddy Perkinson and Freddie Scriba will come to life here behind the water box. Scriba left-hand side of the racetrack out of Millersville, Maryland. The Scriba Welding 1969 Camaro. 974 cubic inches of patent horsepower. And this is a Busey affair across the board, because on the right-hand side, it's Buddy Perkinson out of North George, Virginia for LAT Racing Oil and Brown Line Construction. Perkinson Construction on board as well. Buddy P sits number 5 in the qualified order so far. He went a 371 with a 6 on his first attempt. Freddie Scriba, number 7. Scriba fresh off a win at the All-Star Show we call Pro Stars just weeks ago at Virginia Motorsports Park. Robert Hayes built 69 Camaro. Scriba found himself in the winner's circle at the end of the night. Scriba, your number 3 man in the point standing. Freddie Scriba left side, Buddy Perkinson on the right. Both trying to move qualified order. 368.9, the number spot held by Marcus Butner right now. cars out and gone. Side by side they'll go. 367.5. Move Freddie Scriba to the top. 203 miles per hour. Buddy Perkinson, 372.0. Not going to better his 371 from earlier, so he'll stay, or actually move down to the number 6 qualified position as Freddie Scriba moves to the top. So that's going to answer the question that Tyler and I had. Could anybody lay down a lap and move up the ladder?
Fans, don't let him fool you. I asked the question, and he didn't want to answer because he wanted to make sure he was right.
Well,
Freddie Scriba proved that it can be done, Scotty. Have more confidence in your racers.
we're not done yet. Because here comes Chris Beanie, the birthday boy, left side of the racetrack, and Jim Halsey, multi-time world champion on the right-hand side. So Jim Halsey out of Grace, Maryland, the 68 Camaro on the right-hand side with the Fulton Power Plant, 950 underneath the hood scoop. 3 out of Hickory, North Carolina, the ATI Performance Product 69 Camaro.
Scotty, I happened to miss on a qualifying. Was looking over. Saw that Jim Halsey went 370, 100. Qualifying, and then it appears that he lost the issues back half of the 8-mile racing circuit. So now, Jim Halsey comes in as number 5, and James Rainey number 7. Both of these drivers will be looking to move up, and I can tell you, the car on the right-hand side of the race, out of Grace, Maryland, is looking to go right past 367.5 that just went number 1. Schweitzer, both of these hot starting line. Tell you, all eyes are watching Jim Halsey on the right-hand side of the racetrack. Chris Rainey's like, hey, but I'm fast too. Pay attention to me. Hey, so I can tell you, 2 drivers. We can go to the top of the sheet and find out who does it. Halsey shakes. Rainey top end, 369.5, 200 miles per hour for Chris Rainey. Rainey to number 5. Halsey down to number 6. 931 down low for Halsey was 2 thousandths quicker than Chris Rainey. Rainey was 933, 248 the split. Halsey trying to run it hard through the middle, and it gave up the ghost. So Hoosiers on the back of the went into tire shake. And now our final pair in category, Tommy Franklin, Marcus Butner. Pro Street, we need you to the lanes. Pro Street, we need you now. Bring them up.
So our final pair in category came into the session, number 1 and number 2. Marcus Butner on the right-hand side of the racetrack out of Tobaccoville, North Carolina. The 69 Camaro with the Musi 973 underneath the hood scoop for Butner Construction and Twin City Rebar. Jay Cox, the crew chief, over there on the right-hand side of the racetrack. Many laps in a pro-modified machine for that fella.
Jay made a lot of good laps here last season in the Pumpkin. Now, so that's you do not want to sleep on. Currently, your number 2 qualifier, Commemorative Session, is your number 1. Got bumped down by Scriba's 367.5. And on the left-hand side of the racetrack, the reigning world Eric, the number 1, on the window of the Jungle Rat 2 Chevrolet out of the Jerry Bickle Race Cars Camp. None other than Tommy Franklin.
Musi horsepower across the board here on this one. Franklin Electric, SmartCom Home now, and Redline Oil on board that machine.
Scotty, we've talked about it already this session. The humidity is sky high right now. As you can see, a lot of team members having to kind of clean up the windows, make sure their drivers can see where they're going. And a little bit of fog down on the top end of the racetrack. It is not an optimum night here in Martin, Michigan. We're going to make the best of it. The final pair, Schweitzer Dynamics per Nitrous, your current number 2 and number 3 qualifiers. If they want to go to the top, 367.5. and they've got to do it right now.
Tommy Franklin, Marcus Butner, the last two in category here tonight. Wheels in the air for Tommy Franklin. Butner drives it all over the racetrack. Look at Franklin go 364.4. Look at Butner go 365.5. I can tell you right now, Tommy Franklin's going to get out of the car. Look at Jay Coxon go bump all the way to the top. Tommy Franklin, hello, your #1 qualifier here tonight in Schweitzer Dynamics Pro Nitrous. Both cars, 206. Pop by Pat Busey horsepower on the miles per hour clocks. Tommy Franklin, Marcus Butner lead the way for round #1 in category tomorrow.
So that'll make a Tommy Franklin-Keith Haney matchup in the opening round. It doesn't get much better than that. So your top 5 in professional nitrous, Tommy Franklin, Marcus Butner, Freddie Scriba, Mike Achenbach, and shout out to Chris Rennie. He's looking good this weekend here, celebrating his birthday and getting it done on the racetrack. So now we're going to make the jump to WS Construction Pro Boost presented by Tie Drive and P2 Contracting. First machine out, the Corvette of Scott Christoffel on the left-hand side of the racetrack. He'll be on a single run. First time we've seen this machine on tour this season with the PDRA. And that is not what you're looking to do. Looks like they're going to push that machine. Oh, okay. So they're pushing it back. They're going to refire the machine. Voila. So Scott Christoffel not going to make the run. Our next pair fire to life, Joel Winsley out of Brooklyn, Michigan, the 2017 Camaro, and Kai Kelly. Winsley here left side, 2017 Camaro for mechanical heating and cooling, Liberty's gears, and VP Race Fuels. And Kai Kelly from Street Outlaws fame on the right-hand side. That Wizard-built 84 Camaro, the Noonan 521 between the frame rails. Kai Kelly not currently qualified here in Pro Boost this weekend. Kelly on a run right here. How about a 370, a 199? That will move Kai Kelly up into number 12 qualifying position. Tyler, our next pair fired line here, Steve King and Melanie Salemi. But what's huge about this run is Melanie is currently not qualified in the program. Number 2 in the point standing and not in the show right now.
Kai Kelly's run right there, that 370, pushed Melanie Salemi outside of the field. This is a great run right here for the Buffalo New York State. In the field, but all eyes need to be on the right-hand side of the racetrack. Melanie Salemi has got to run faster than 4:14.2 to put that hot rod into the field tomorrow, and if not, she might not. Like it's huge. She's number 2 in the championship points, 1 round out of the lead. She is exactly 1 round out of the lead. Coming into the back half of the season, this could be the make or break moment of the year for Melanie Salemi, and can she basically get herself out of championship contention by not making the field?
And I tell you, Tyler, this is not common ground for them. She's coming off a runner-up finish at our last point-paying event in Maryland. So huge implications on the table right here for Melanie Salemi.
I can tell you, if your back's in the corner and your money's on somebody, John and Melanie Salemi are 2 that you're probably pretty confident in whenever you roll the dice and go up to put this car in the staging beam with 1 shot to put it in the field. Scott Christopher looks on, currently on the bump spot with a 4:14.2. Was not able to make his run to try and better his time. And Melanie Salemi, second to light the pre-stage bulb, sits alongside Steve King, but this one is big for Melanie Salemi. Salemi out and gone. No big deal. 3:64.6, all the way up to number 3 on the qualifying sheet. Steve King went kaboom out in the middle of the racetrack. King was quicker to 60 foot, but it gave up the ghost right at the 330 foot block, and the Strasburg, Virginia Savage Corvette just savaged some parts here on Friday night in Martin, Michigan. But Melanie Salemi can breathe a sigh of relief as Purple Rain came through once again to go 3:64.6 at a whopping high miles per hour of the weekend so far, 208 miles per hour of Mike Stawicki horsepower to put Salemi in the number 3 qualified position.
So we will send the trackside spotters out onto the racing surface to make sure things are good to go. And the big boom from Steve King. Good news, Tyler. No oil down on the racing surface.
That is always a good thing to hear.
Yeah.
It sounds like they knocked the blower off the top of Steve King's car, so they will go to work tonight. Get that thing ready to go for round number 1. Looks like he will currently be the number 14 car on the qualifying sheet, but I think he has Jay Santos can move up the sheet. He is next out on the racing surface. Santos will try to get out of the number 16 qualified spot, because the last thing you want to do is run number 1 qualifier when you come out the race.
That's currently held by Derek Ward at 363.9 from earlier. Derek still yet to run here in this session, so that's a good drop down. But here comes Ed Burnley and Jay Santos. And I tell you what, Tyler, Burnley here in the Ironman machine, I like that. Already, I feel to be more competitive in this category. He's one of the hardest categories to qualify out of the PDRA event.
The team that currently assembled is part of the Pro-Line Racing Championship. Agostino in the game, on board with the Red Hat option. Jay Santos on the right side. Race engineering. Timmy, Ontario based Chevrolet Camaro. But these two drivers are in the field. The field is set. These drivers will battle it out tomorrow. Now we just have to see who pairs to who. There could be some movement going on.
We've seen some monster improvements already. So these qualified orders definitely going to shuffle around here. Ed Burnley and Jay Santos make their final adjustments and start to head to the Christmas tree. Burnley first to the tree, lights the top off. Santos comes to the party. Here we go.
Both out and gone. Look at Ed Burnley, 368, 203 miles per hour. Jay Santos sound like he ran it a little bit deep down there. 372, 201 miles per hour. Will move Santos up to the number 15 spot. Oh, big move, but not on the bump. Ed Burnley up to number 11, 368.7 for the Ironman Chevrolet on the left-hand side.
So Tyler, you talked earlier about someone being backed in the corner. Randy Weatherford, one of the drivers often that you see come out here and just make a stellar moonshot to the top of the category. He's all the way back in the 9th qualified position. Went a respectable 366, but I got a feeling you're about to watch Randy Weatherford lay one down here in that WS Construction Camaro.
Scotty, you speak on Randy Weatherford. The big thing is as we get to sit here and look at all the numbers, something that the fans in the stands and the fans at home on FloRacing can't see, that 366.4 out of Randy Weatherford was 11 miles per hour slower than every other Pro Charger or screw-blown car category. Why? Because I think a Pro Charger exited stage right on that hot rod in Q1. So that 66 is not representative of the run that he was going to make if he clears the speed traps at 205 miles per hour like everybody else does in the category. So I think Randy Weatherford is going to be looking to go faster than that 66 that we currently see him at holding down the number 9 qualified spot. I would guess you see something close to what Melanie Salemi went, mid 364 laps right here.
And he'll be up against Preston Tanner on the right-hand side out of Riddle, Indiana, the Talbot Manufacturing Manhattan Collision Corvette. Preston all the way down in the number 12 spot. And I say all the way, he won a 369.
Randy Weatherford and Preston Tanner. Their final shot at the racetrack for round one. Both drivers out and gone. Preston Tanner first in the stripe, 363, but look at Randy Weatherford light the lamp to go to the top of the qualifying sheet. 363.1, 206 miles per hour for WS Construction, for Proline, for Pro Charger, for all of the gang. 9:11 short time. Randy Weatherford 2:42 to the split. 363.1, 206 miles per hour for Randy Weatherford to go number one for now.
And we spoke on Weatherford making a lap. He sure did right there. 363.1, 206. Great run for that machine. We do have a driver in need. We have a Summit parts call. John Vergatz is in need of a drive shaft for a Turbo 400. 1480 rear, 43.5 to 44 inch. So once again, Summit parts call. We need a drive shaft for John Vergatz. If you have a spare in your trailer, Turbo 400. 1480 rear, 43.5 to 44 inches. So our next pair completing their burnout process, Kurt Stedding and Jason Lee. Stedding finds himself back in the 9th qualified position, and he is the most recent winner on tour.
It's also your points leader, Scotty.
Yes, sir. And how about Jason Lee coming over to play here with the PDRA guys? He's down at number 11. He won a 367.7 that landed in there. Kurt Stedding a 366. So both these drivers looking to improve and move up the qualified ladder.
Jason Lee driving the Coast Packing Company hot rod for Eric Gustin out of Vernon, California. Over the right-hand side of the racetrack, T. Racing machine on board for Jason Lee. Scotty, like you said, Kurt Stedding. If there's one thing that's this season with that new hot rod, it is impressive. Currently your points leader, but like you said, comes in at number 9. The thing with number 9 is that doesn't get you lane choice when you come up for round number 1. So I can promise you, that car on the left-hand side of the racetrack is looking to move up the qualifying sheet. He just saw Randy Weatherford go 363.1 right in the same lane that he's sitting in. Gives you a lot of confidence as a driver to go up there and turn loose the button, knowing that the guy in front of you just went number 1. I can promise you, he's hoping Randy doesn't stay there for long.
And into the beams they go. They fire it off. And it's not going to be Kurt Stedding moving up the ladder, but 364.0 for Jason Lee. Goes to the number 4 spot. Man, what a lap.
Wow, 9:14 down low, 2:43 to the split. Jason Lee moves up to number 4 for Eric Gustafson and Coast Packing Company. Kurt Stedding left it out of the gas quick as that thing made a hard move to the left and was still 9:12 to the 60-foot clocks. So Stedding was trying to make a lap right there, but made a really hard, abrupt move to the left side of the groove. Kurt, being the veteran driver he is, lifted out of the pedal and said, nope, not today. We're going to be happy with what we've got so far. Travis Harvey, Marcus Burt, the next two to take to the racetrack here at Martin. Pro Street, if you're not here, we need you. Pro Street, if you're not here, we need you.
So the Carolina kid here left side of the racetrack, that's Travis Harvey out of Burlington, North Carolina, the 2019 Camaro. And Marcus Burt on the right-hand side out of Gray, Georgia, the Tommy Yeoman's own 2024 Camaro. And if memory serves me right, Tyler, Marcus did not come to our season opener at Galot. He did come to Virginia and did not qualify. And then he turned it around in Norwalk and went to the final round. Got a runner-up finish there.
Marcus is one of those drivers that you never count out. They have a good hot rod, they make good laps, but Marcus is a driver that can make up for some performance disadvantage on the starting line. Not really at a disadvantage this weekend. He goes 365.6 in the opening round. It's slid down to number 7 right now. I promise you they're trying to pick it up a number or 2 right here. They've seen their Pro Charger brethren of Randy Weatherford go 363. Marcus, the gang, is going to try to go somewhere right in that same elapsed time range.
Travis Harvey also with Pro Line Power here left side of the racetrack. He's looked better than he has for most of the season this weekend here at US 131.
Travis has done a lot of testing since our last race on tour. He's got Jamie Miller on board this weekend. Jamie, one of the best chassis men in the game, really got that car driving a lot better for Travis. He had some trouble early in the year. It was trying to drive left, trying to drive right, just not real happy. Wasn't able to really put the power down that they were hoping to make. It looks like Jamie Miller's turned some screws, got in a trench, and turned a wrench. He's got Travis Harvey going right down the Broadway here this weekend. So Harvey comes in number 9, Burt comes in number 7. Both are going to try to leave higher than that by the time they get to the finish line at the 660-foot clock. Marcus Burt, last to light the lamp. Both drivers out and gone. Marcus Burt, 364, but look at Travis Harvey, 363.5, 206 miles per hour, the best run of the weekend so far for Travis Harvey. Slides him in at number 2, puts Marcus Burt at number 5. The top side of this sheet is tight, Scotty Gore.
And I'll tell you what I'm noticing. Look at Travis Harvey's reaction time.
That boy good.
007 going by the Christmas tree, getting it done behind the wheel, the car performing like it should.
2 of the best Pro Charger cars in category, Johnny Camp, Jason Harris. Your next 2.
Johnny Camp, the Hells Bells, 69 Camaro out of Cannonsburg, Pennsylvania, here on the left-hand side of the racetrack, currently all the way back in the number 8 spot. And I say all the way back because that's not an area that we usually see Johnny Camp's name on the qualified order. And Jason Harris, your defending world champion, on the right-hand side. Jason went a 363.9 on his first attempt. We've seen a slew of 363s this round. Can he drop it even lower? And I'm getting all choked up here, Tyler.
Scotty, you talked about it. Johnny Camp currently not in a spot where he normally is, but oh, just wait. That's 200ths of a second. 200ths of a second. Blink your eyes real fast. Yeah, that was not 200ths of a second. That tells you how tight this field is here this weekend and here all season. Here at WS Construction Pro Boost, brought to you by P2 Contracting and Tie Drive. And these two drivers
are 2 of the best that rely on Pro Charger Superchargers for their boosted applications. Both rely on Brandon Stroud to hit the right keys on the keyboard, and they both are looking to move up the qualifying sheet. Harris, currently number 4. Camp, currently number 9. Oh, Johnny Camp definitely wants to move up the ladder. You want to know why? Because he's currently looking at a round number 1 matchup with Todd Tutterow. I don't know if you know this or not. Todd Tutterow is good at door slammer drag racing, Scotty.
He's been down the track 1 or 2 times.
Yeah, that boy made a couple laps.
He's a 2-time winner on tour this season already. So Johnny Camp, Jason Harris. Harris wants to go back to number 1. He'll need to go quicker than a 363.1. Here we go.
Camp goes nowhere. Harris goes to the penthouse. 362.3, 205 miles per hour for party time. 007 on the leg road, 911. 60-foot. On right. Stuck out at the racetrack around 450 foot.
And that's pretty interesting, Tyler. You look at Jason Harris, just went the 362.3 at 205. The next 4 cars in the qualified order have all been a faster mile an hour. Not quite the ET that Harris got to pull out of that Camaro.
Harris's car has always ran really, really strong early. If you get the car moving early, your miles per hour number is always going to be on the lower side because you have your vehicle momentum up early. See that as we talked about, or as I talked about, the 330-foot time, the half-track number for Jason Harris being 2:41, being the quickest of the session so far. And really, that's where that car makes up the difference. He might not run the bigger speed, but when you are running the first half of the racetrack earlier, your vehicle speed is up, moving that car down the racetrack, propelling it faster down the racetrack. Well, your speed number does not show that because you have the vehicle moving early in the run. Speed, for those who don't know, is calculated at the last 66 feet of the racetrack. So you see the 660-foot orange block out there in the middle of the racetrack. 66 feet before that is the 594 cone. that we all call the 8 miles per hour. Well, at that point, your miles per hour starts there, and it stops at 660 feet. So your speed is really measured in 666 feet instead of 660 feet. So that's why you see a lot of variance in speed. When you have a turbo car, you see big speed because those cars make power on the top end of the racetrack, where other cars make power early in the racetrack and don't propel as hard down the racing surface. So that's why you see a variance in speed depending on what power other people have. And like you said there, even in comparisons of how people are running their cars. Jason runs his car early in the run. You know, looking at a different ProCharger car, you see Marcus Burt went 364, I think the run before him, and went 207 miles per hour, but was not as fast in 60 foot and 330, but ran it a little bit harder out the back. So the difference in how you run your race car, really it's a tuner's game, or however you want that to look, is how you depend on what you feel like, whether you feel like your lane is better on the starting line than it is the other one. Maybe you can get more aggressive in 60 foot. Maybe it slips the tire a little bit too much and you lose that time. But we really don't know. But I think now our race director would like Extreme Pro Stock called to the lane. So Extreme Pro Stock, if you're not on your way to the staging lanes, bring them on down. We've got green lights on the top end of the racetrack, and it is now time. Bring your next two out. Scotty, I think these are two pretty fast.
Yeah. Todd Tutterow and Derek Ward. Derek Ward in the Pontiac. Todd Tutterow in the Camaro. So Todd Tutterow, King Tut, will be on the left-hand side of the racetrack. Atkinville, North Carolina. The Quick Fuel 69 Camaro. Owned by Justin Smith. Derek Ward on the right-hand side. At a Friendship, Maryland, the 68 Firebird for G-Force Race Cars, Resolution Racing Services. Derek Ward, your current world record holder category. And these two are number 3 and 4 in the points, with Tutterow being number 3, Ward number 4. On the qualifying sheet, Tutterow number 8. Derek Ward number 4. Derek went a 360, led most of this round of qualifying, so these guys have started dropping big numbers.
Scotty, I think every tuner out there took my comments of, I don't really know if anybody picks up this session because you've been. I think they all looked at each other and said, let's make him look. They have all been extremely impressed this session with the given atmospheric conditions that we've been faced with after the rain shower. The sun went down. It's still a little bit warm, but it is respectful, humid here tonight in Martin, Michigan.
Well, it's hard for us to convey that to the people watching at home on FloRacing. It is very thick. The air is considered thick out there. They've proven they don't care. Jason Harris has gone to number 1 with that 362.3. Now Todd Tutterow and Derek Ward going to try to take that away. Derek Ward was number 1 coming into this round of qualifying. He's all the way back to the number 4 spot now. Tutterow sits back in the 8th spot. Have to go quicker than Jason Harris's 362 with a 3 to move back to the top of the chart. Both of them into the top bulb, and here we go.
Derek Ward led perfect. Todd Tutterow, 9:03 short time. Tutterow to the top of the leaderboard, 361.3, 206 miles per hour, the best 60 foot in category, and the best 330 foot mark. I really think I made the man mad when I was talking about Jason Harris's lap. 9:03, 60 foot for Todd Tutterow, 241.7 to the split. Screw lower horsepower, 361.3 out the back, 206 miles per hour. King Tut to the top of the board.
Yeah, but you can't take nothing away from Derek Ward. 362.2 moves Derek Ward to number 2. I mean, what a final round of qualifying here for Pro Boost.
Nasty. We are nasty here tonight. Move us over to Pro Street. What's this class course?
Yeah, Mincer Motorsports Pro Street. Tony Basso, left-hand side, the 67 Chevy 2, and Tony struggled on his first attempt, knocked the tire off right on the hit. Trying to improve. He's going to have to qualify into this field as there's over 16 cars trying to do so. The first time on tour for Tony here. Beautiful 67 Chevy 2.
Scotty ran out of batteries on the other one. Grabbed the backup. She got full battery.
Sounded good, buddy.
Maybe. Well, Pro Boost was exciting. Pro Nitrous was exciting. I have a feeling Pro Street's going to be exciting too.
Just the same. So here we go. Tony going to make the trip this time.
427, 179 miles per hour. Big time pickup from the first lap that moved about 16 inches. So Tony Basso moves up on the qualifying, puts himself in the field at number 12, bumps out Bill Devine. Charged entry. That's now rolling in the water.
Yeah, Bill Devine and Jerry Morgano, pair of Ford Mustangs. Bill Devine left side of the track for Bullseye Power out of Muskegon, Michigan. And Jerry Morgano made the long haul from Apollo Beach, Florida, the O2 coat on the right-hand side we call the Copperhead. Morgano, number 16. So one of these make it into the program right now. Morgano on the right-hand side is in. He won a 481. Bill Devine, left side, won a 493 and is not qualified in the show. They both build to boost. Huge implications on it. It's not going to be Bill Devine as he has to get off the loud pedal. But look at Morgano, 408. Moved Jerry Morgano all the way up to the 6th qualifying position. Up, we have Caringi on the right-hand side, 69 Camaro, Ethan left-hand side, the P2 machine. Ethan Stedding currently sits in number 16. You will not get bumped from the program. You just saw what happened on his attempt. But Ethan Stedding is a back-to-back winner here on the PDRA Tour coming into this race, and finds himself qualified all the way back in the number 16 spot. Not where Ethan Stedding wants to be. He is in a sits number 1 currently, and right now he'd have to face your number 1 qualifier, which is Nick Agostino at a 399.
Heck of a lot more guys back there sitting in front of Nick Agostino going, that guy might have good cannolis, but I want that number 1 qualifying spot.
Could be in jeopardy this round. We've seen improvements in all categories. So right now, Ethan Stedding trying to move up the qualified order.
Mauro Caringi had some trouble yesterday. He's overcome some of that. Stedding first to light the lamp. Caringi blinking the bottom bulb. Stedding has to pedal. Goes 420. Mauro Caringi 419.9. We'll move both drivers up just a little bit. Karinji to 12, Stedding to 13. Definitely not where we expected to see the points leader coming into round number 1.
Oh, but look at the qualified order. The guy he's racing for the championship with, only 2 spots ahead of him on the ladder currently.
That's why they call it drag racing, not racing on paper.
Oh, it absolutely is. Our next pair fire to life. Tony Pizzelli on the left-hand side. Beautiful 68 Camaro. Tony, now your number 16 qualifier. Went a 4:28.6. Salmon on the right-hand side out of Port Charlotte, Florida, the 02 Camaro. Matt, your number 14 qualified machine out of 4:21 with a This is the first time that we've seen Tony Pizzelli here on the left-hand side on tour this season. Both these machines, first time on tour. Matt Salmon as well on the right-hand side out of Port Charlotte, Florida. Matt Salmon and on a good lap right here. How about 12? Tony having some issues in his Camaro. He'll still be in the field, but he'll stay at number 16. Matt moves all the way up to the number 9 qualified position with that 412. 184 miles per hour. Liberty's Gears Extreme Pro Stock. Liberty's Gears Extreme Pro Stock. We need you to the staging lanes if you're not already there. Extreme Pro Stock. We need you to the lanes, please. Todd Casper, Brian Weddle up next. Casper on the left-hand side, the Ford Mustang out of Westville, New Jersey for Victus Baseball, ATI in Clearview. Brian Weddle, Frederick, Maryland. 1320 Fab built 66 Camaro. Weddle's been number 1 qualifier this season, so has Todd Casper. So both these drivers trying to move up the qualified order. Ty right now, number 7. He went 409 with a 2 on his first. And Brian Weddle back number 11 qualified, 13 with a 6.
Scotty Brian Weddle came to his debut event, went straight to a final round, and everybody was like, oh boy, like, where'd this thing come from? And then they kind of got a little bit lost. Right. Then they found out that the rear broken in the car.
Oh, okay.
Took back to Jason 1320 Fab. Jason worked some more magic on that hot rod. Now they're trying to get back to where they were. 413 was a respectable lap for them off the trailer coming in round number 1 of qualifying. I expect to step that up. Also expect Ty to step up from that 409. Agostino currently the only one in the 3s. I have a feeling he will not be the only one with a 3-second elapsed time when this class ends their second qualifying session here tonight. Casper builds the boost second to stay Weddle. Already in the Camaro. Both out and gone. Casper grabs a handful of steering wheel, goes 402, 197 miles per hour, and Brian Weddle goes 405.1, 194 miles per hour. That 402 takes Ty Casper to number 3. Brian Weddle up to number 4. Good laps, both sides of the racetrack. These two drivers move up the qualifying sheet here in Pro Street.
So Bill Riddle, Dan Norris up next. Riddle on the left-hand side of the racetrack at a Howell, Michigan. And Corgan Race Fuels Chevrolet Camaro. And Dan Norris, that beautiful Ford Mustang on the right-hand side. State race for him. And we spoke on it. Dan Norris in a points battle finds himself qualified all the way back to number 12 spot. We watched other drivers improve the session. Can Norris get it done as well?
I think both of these drivers do right. Race out of the same camp, kind of teammates of sort. Both roots blown Hemis, both out of the state of Michigan. I really think these two drivers move up the sheet. How far do they move up the sheet? I don't know. But I completely expect to see 2 laps times in the 4.0 range out of the past world champ, out of a man that is currently number 2 in the points championship chase. So they currently both bottom side of the sheet will not have lane choice in round number 1 unless they get above that do or done line that currently sits at a 4.087.
Three fives and they're off. Dan Norris out of power, so he'll start race day on the bottom half. But look at Bill Riddle. That is the championship form we've been looking for. 402 at 186. Bill Riddle up to the number 4 spot in the qualified order.
Scotty, it was anything but conventional. That thing went 102 to 60 foot, and it went 102 to 60 foot pointing at the left wall. Bill Riddle said, I am not lifting. You know what? Screw it. And kept his foot pinned to the floorboard. Goes 102 short time, 402 at 186. And Scotty, like you said, it's been a rough start to the championship backup tour for Bill Riddle, and that might be the lap that turns it around for the world champ.
PDRA Pro 632, we need you. PDRA Pro 632, our final category of the evening. We need you to the staging lane. For Q2, please. PDRA Pro 632, we need you. Our next pair complete the burnout process here, Tyler. Joe Winsley Jr. on the right-hand side out of Dearborn, Michigan, and Richard Reagan from Rutledge, Tennessee.
I think nearly every car that has come up to the starting line has bettered their performance from round number 1. I fully expect these two drivers to do the same. Reagan was quicker of the two in the opening stanza with a 407. Joe Winsley Jr. went 410 on his off-the-trailer shot in round number 1 of qualifying. So both drivers have data to build off of. As it looks like there might be a little bit of a frantic moment on the right-hand side of the racetrack, but I can't really tell. It looks peaceful. All is well. All is well.
Richard Reagan left side, Joe Winsley Jr. on the right. Both of them trying to move up the qualified order. And Tyler, no matter what happens here, this is sure shaping up to be an interesting race day.
It's going to be a very impressive race day, I have a feeling. We've talked about it all day long, all night long now. Let's in favorable atmospheric conditions, and everybody just gets faster. Reagan wheels in the air past the 3:30 clock and goes 4:01.9, sitting alongside Winsley Jr.'s 4:01.8. That is Pro Street, ladies and gentlemen.
Joel Winsley Jr. all the way up to the number 3 qualified position. Richard Reagan moves that Ford Mustang into the number 4 spot. Man, side by side within a thou of each other.
and Reagan had the front wheels in the air, I think, to the 330-foot block. Impressive lap for the Rutledge, Tennessee-based Richard Reagan. They call him Bubba. Well, Bubba was trying to fly on that one. And his teammate Scott Kincaid comes up next, sitting alongside Chris Cadato.
Chris Cadato, the brick, the Dodge Ram pickup truck out of Westland, Michigan on the right-hand side.
Scotty, we just watched it back in the tower from Richard Reagan's instant replay on Flow, and I was correct. It had the front wheels in the air past the 330-foot mark, and somebody else that's good at doing that is Chris Cadato on the right-hand side of the racetrack. The Dodge Ram pickup truck from Westland, Michigan is known to carry the front wheels, and if it has the front end of the air past the 330-foot clocks and it is straight and true, that thing is liable to go into the 3-second range, and Scott Kincaid has done the same thing in the Camaro.
Well, Tyler, you're just talking about a little bit of a performance gain. Cadato on his first attempt went a 4.06. A 4.08 is all the way back in the 10th qualified position. Very extremely tight field of pro street cars here this weekend.
Said it for the last couple of months. This class is absolutely impressive to watch. When everybody has their stuff together, this class can run with anybody, and there's a lot of teams that can get down the racetrack in a hurry.
We haven't even mentioned Scott Kincaid here on the left-hand side of the racetrack. That beautiful Camaro out of Thornhill, Tennessee. Let's see what they can do.
Wheels in the air for Kincaid. Sits them down 4 flat. All the way up to number 3. Scott Kincaid goes 3. Cadato tried to get down early and couldn't do it. Shakes. But, oh, by the way, Scotty, Scott Kincaid 4 flat with a 4. Nice elapsed time. That goes a lot of rounds. Oh, my man was perfect letting go on the Christmas tree.
That'll maybe get you a little farther.
It will. From a bracket racer standpoint, sitting here talking, yes, perfect is very good.
So right now, Nick Agostino still leading the pack at a 3.99. Ron Green, 4 flat. Both those machines getting ready to come up right now. 4 flat for Scott Kincaid. 4.01 for Joe Winsley Jr. 4.01 for Richard Reagan, Ty Casper, and Bill Riddle, both at a 4.02.
I got nothing.
That's ridiculous, honestly.
I think, and this is just me thinking, and everybody knows my thinker is pretty broken, I think this might be one of the tightest pro street fields that we've ever seen thus far here at the PDRA, until one of these two guys goes out, blazes the scoreboard down, and kind of blows our average to smithereens. But oh no, Ron Green having trouble. Left-hand side of the racetrack, cannot get that car in reverse. He is frantically trying to find reverse, and all you got to do is talk about my man, and he does it. Sometimes you just got to make everybody look at Ron. Ron wanted everybody to look at him for a second. Nick Agostino, your current number 1 qualifier. And oh boy, Ron Green has lost reverse again. I think the Pontiac Firebird has gone silent, and we found reverse. Nope. This is not what the Chesterfield, Virginia-based team wanted to happen. But Ron Green cannot get that car in reverse and get it to stay there. He is trying frantically to do so.
The crew can back him up. They can push him back, and then he can take the trees. So there's still that option for that team coming off of a win at Pro Stars. This is, like you said, Tyler, this is not what they were looking for. A lot of chaos going on down there. Nick Agostino patiently waiting on the right-hand side. He will be your number 1 qualifier if Ron Green can't get it going here on the left side.
Scotty, here's the thing. If you know how these transmission works, when you press a trans brake button, it locks it between reverse and low gear. If you don't have reverse, do you have a trans brake? Will it lock that thing in when he grabs the brake and puts it on the 2-step? We're going to find out.
And we talk about it all the time. These guys that get pushed back, they hammer the trans brake and the car just takes off, and Ron Green shuts it off here on the left-hand side.
Well, the positive side of this, Ron goes into race day, your number 2 qualifier.
Yes, sir.
How low can Nick Agostino go? We are going to find out right now. 399.0, your number 1 qualifier. It's the man taking the tree right now. Can he go faster? We're going to find out, Agostino. Whoa, baby. 393.9, 201 miles per hour. The Cannoli Express said, see ya. Off into the Michigan sky. 393.9, #1 qualifier for Nash competition engines for Canada. And oh, by the way, small block.
Final call for PDRA Pro 632. Final call for PDRA Pro 632. Big shout out to the lower level lounge. Watching some Friday night fire from US 131. The fastest track in Michigan.
You know you have really good friends when you get a text message that says, is that Goober on the PAU? I love my friends.
I'm just glad they weren't picking on me for a change.
So here we go with Extreme Pro Stock, your next to last category for the evening. Mountain motors, no extra horsepowers, bunch of gears, and a clutch pedal. Ready, go.
3-pedal monsters of the PDRA, the 08 Cobalt of Dennis Furcus. First up on the left-hand side, 825 cubic inches of naturally aspirated horsepower. Trying to burn water out here tonight, Tyler.
Scotty, we've talked about it, how the atmospheric conditions are rough. If there's any category that's going to know it, it's going to be these guys because they don't have anything else to make up for it but horsepower. And that horsepower went quiet, and that's not what we want whenever we have race cars on the starting line. Dennis Furcus finds the ignition button again, gets it started back up, and we'll see if he can keep it lit. For Done Right Auto Sales and Amsoil out of Chicago, Illinois. Dennis Furcus having a little bit of trouble down here.
Okay, so Dennis Furcus will be on the clock here. And it doesn't look they're going to get that machine fired up. Tony Pontieri next up, left-hand side of the racetrack. Going to try to qualify his 2020 Camaro. So as somebody's car alarm goes off, Tony Pontieri heads to the top bulb. Crew member makes the final adjustments. And unfortunately for Tony, as he lit both bulbs and activated the tree, that was his attempt. So he'll have to go on down the racetrack.